This is Damon Stevens with Favorable Bullish. Today is Thursday, November 10th, 2022, and the stock market update for the trades of the day. And boy, hopefully you're able to catch it with this CPI number we talked about coming up here this morning. Obviously, good news. Inflation's coming down a little bit, and that allowed the market to rally. So maybe we will get this year-end rally after all. But again, be careful out there. News can always change, but right now, things are looking better, at least for this next month until the next Fed meeting coming up in December. So maybe we get a few weeks a rally here. So let's get right into take a look and see what's going on in the charts and see what opportunities we might have going forward here. Looking at the Dow Jones, up 1,200 points, up 3.7%. NASDAQ up 7.35%, and S&P 500 up 5.50%. Just a rocket ride today. So hopefully you're able to catch that rocket ride. You see across the board just massive increases. Apple's up almost 9%, Google up almost 8%, Amazon up over 12%. Just a rocket ride if you caught that. So that's core CPI numbers when we talk about that coming out, and to make sure you pay attention and follow the market based on that is so important. You can see here we did have something hit the scanner at the FSRD. This one had high volume, but again, penny stock. So typically we stay away from those, but some people do grab those. So if you did, congratulations on that. But boy, what a market rally today. So going into Friday, we could have a potential pullback here a little bit. With a huge rally day like today. But again, looking more bullish than anything else. So Friday, Veterans Holiday, not much into that. Going into Monday, just to check. You have Fed 1 year inflation expectations in 5 years. So on Monday, this could, possibly create a little volatility, depending on what's said there. It also could continue to help the rally go. So just look for Monday to see, do we get continuation play? And that supports today's rally, or are they going to try to take the wind out of the sails per se? So just keep an eye on that. So looking at the S&P 500, stocks above the 50-day moving average. You can see here now we're at a whopping 81%. So again, over these old highs here, even clear back. Last time we were up in the 90s was April 2021. We hit that again in August, and then haven't hit anything like that until now. So now we're up to 81. Do we kind of rally up here? That's very possible, likely, as we look at this year-end rally. But we do have huge gaps up here. Typically, there's been a pullback after a big gap, so that's a possibility. But again, just a rocket ride today. And then again, we've been watching this 2007, 2008. Possibly this could break it, or it could be a high to where it comes back down again. So again, keep it on a long-term perspective. Short-term, things look great. Long-term perspective, we need to just kind of see what happens in the market. But if you do look at the overall, things are looking positive. Here's the inflation rate. You can see finally breaking down here, towards the 7.7. So, did we hit the peak here at 9? And is what the Fed's doing actually working? That's what we're monitoring. But if we continue to see this come down here, 5.6 is where we're at in 2002, 2007, 2008. And so you really want to see this come down below the Fed fund rate. And so, are we making progress? Yes. Are we out of the woods? Too early to say. But again, making momentum in the right direction. Fed fund rate, again, they said, might be up here in this 5 to 5.25, which is kind of where it was back in 2007, 2008 before dropping off. But again, the Feds aren't going to do anything. They're holding strict to their policy until they see inflation back in control. So just keep that in mind. Also, you can see the number of shorts, people short in the market. Now, these guys are going to get trapped here, and so there's going to be short coverings, which could, creates situations like today where you can get a huge squeeze. Look at the S&P 500, the calls and puts. You see a huge amount of contracts. 364, 350. You see more of these people short in the market than long. So today rallies, that's going to could create a situation where these guys are going to lose their money, and these puts are going to expire worthless here as we come into this next week. So just keep that in mind. You'll probably see a huge spike here. I'm expecting probably over tomorrow is to see the the calls come back into play, which we've not seen. It's been really heavy on the shorting side, and rightly so. So we'll see if we get a nice reversal on that. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe to our channel, FinWealth Live on YouTube. That way you continue to bring this content to you. Hopefully it's helpful for you, as well as provide some training and some ideas if you're out there looking or you're new to stock trading. So getting to some more charts here, we have Exxon Mobil. Well, back here, it created a nice reversal candle right off the 20-day moving average. So hopefully get a nice little rally back up here, especially with the momentum in the market. Netflix, nice run off of the 50-day moving average. See, you were kind of consolidating right at the 5100. And you see, we talked about this pivot, this little pivot area right here, and we did get that rally off of there, luckily. So a nice run up here. We're going to retrace here, possibly, a little bit higher. Question is do we get into a range up here where we kind of, filter up and down, or do we get a nice bull run? But regardless, you can see that we do have this upward momentum on Netflix. So that's good to see. Apple was kind of heading down. We'll see if it can continue breaking out. It's got to get, above this 100-day where it's at right now at 147.50. And then if it can, then, we have more resistance up here at 150, a little bit over 150. We can break out of that, and then maybe we can break to the upside. So, keep in mind, still downward sloping, still have a high we got to break out of here. But overall, good run off of this base here, off the support, which you can see these pivots down here that created that nice base. Amazon had that low that they put in there, a nice big gap up and a run up here. So we'll see if we can get back up to the 20-day moving average and break above it. It might be a little bit of resistance up here. You see that we were downward sloping, but we do have a downward facing wedge here. So maybe we can break out of this and move to new highs. NVIDIA, you can see we were actually negative trending. Then we turned to positive trending, broke above this resistance area here, and this one again here. Now we're at this area right here. If we can break up here, maybe we can go up toward these highs. Now you can see that there's probably going to be some resistance up here. And this could be a range up in this zone right here if we can get above this resistance area. So looking for, additional push up here, maybe a little bit of pullback, and then bounce off of there towards highs. Tesla, after coming down, dropping down here, you see downward sloping. We have this nice little pull up here. And then, it got back down here. Let me go down to daily here just so you can see closer what we have here. So we have this double top in here and a pullback. Typically, you take this neckline here, a pullback, and this is what you're going to see. We measure here to here. Usually you're going to see a movement in that neckline down, and you can see that we blew through that support line, which is kind of this line right here. And then we came to new lows. So you can get a bounce above here. Well, we're right now, right here. Not quite, above this support, this resistance line here. We got to really get above this 194. Get above 200 ideally is where we want to be if we want to rally up here. But you can see we broke well below the lows here. And there should have been support down here, right where these pivots are. And so obviously the weakness here, a lot of this very well could be related to all the stock that Elon's been selling off, multiple billions of dollars, which most likely is going towards his Twitter purchase. But that big sell-off of those shares have definitely had an impact on Tesla's stock. Microsoft, you can see here, Microsoft running back up here after hitting that new low. Coming up here, it's going to definitely have resistance on these pivots right here around this 250 level. It's got to break through. So it could become range bound up here. So just something to keep an eye on. Should definitely hit some resistance levels as it gets towards these pivots up here. So look for some resistance and a pullback here on Microsoft. But otherwise, nice little rally here, showing definitely some strength. Definitely got to get above that 200-day if we really want to get into a bull run. Google, nice bounce off our support level. Resistance at the 50-day moving average. So we got to break that if we want to move up higher. Can see that we're still kind of sloping down. So just keep that in mind, that we got to break up here and get above some of these these old pivots here if we really want to get into a bull run. But for now, at least we can kind of catch at least a little bit of this run up here. 10-year yield pulling back down to the 50-day, found support here. We could get a bounce here, but really we had probably better support kind of where we were broke out right here. So look for some additional downward support if we do continue to break down. If we very well could find some support maybe down here where we got this little bounce level. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to put these lines down here. You can see that's kind of where we had some resistance and we bounced up from there. So we'll take a look at that and see for what the 10-year yield. But the 10-year yield continues pulling down. That's going to help the market, obviously. Same with the 2-year yield coming down here to support level. Didn't quite hit it, but this is an area where we broke out before. So I'll look for some support down there. If it does bounce off there, we could have a pullback here a little bit from the market. Dollar fine weakness. Okay, it broke down all the way down to this little pivot we had down here. So it's tied with that area. So we could get a bounce here, break down. That's a huge weakness on the dollar, which can help the market continue to rally. If we do get a bounce here, we could become range bound. You can see right here, very well could become a range bound in this area on this candle. Or this could become an engulfing candle where there's just chop right here, and this engulfs everything that's to the right of it. So keep that in mind with the dollar. So move forward, and obviously as we talked about, anytime the dollar is down, gold rallies, and it's right at the 200-day moving average. So we are at resistance. Could see a pullback here, and this could also become range bound. But right now, if we break above the 200-day, then obviously we get a nice bull run going here. But we are still in this downward slope, and we're at the very top of our deviation bands. So keep that in mind. VIX, nice little, huge candle here, right up to the 20-day, 50-100, and the rejection off of there down to this little pivot area here. So where does the VIX go? Well, it can continue breaking down here towards these lows, down around 19, or it could find resistance here and bounce and retrace possibly a little bit after this big huge run. SPY on an 8-hour chart, you can see, looks like we're starting to get into this upward slope. So obviously there's resistance around 402. So you can see that possibly coming back down, pulling back down to this wedge here. So looking for a little bit more of a run possibly here before we exhaust that and come down a little bit. Same with triple Qs. You see kind of more range bound for weeks here. It's kind of chopping through. So we break through here, we're going to break that trend line and possibly look more of a bull trend. But for right now, it looks like we're kind of in a sideways range. IWM kind of in a range as well, but you see it hit the full length of that range in one day. So this could still be engulfing as long as this stays in this area and we continue to range as we have the last few weeks. Once we break out, and then obviously we're getting to a bull run. Financials continue up our wedge here, continue to climb higher, breaking these resistance areas. The next one's at this 35.78. We're just right underneath it. If we break out of that, we're really kind of getting to a nice bullish run here on the financials, and really kind of recovered, clear back here from August highs. So we're just almost right there. That could be a double top as well, but if we break above it, then obviously we're going to start to create a brand new trend. Bitcoin had that huge sell-off. Obviously that was a huge move, and then we got a bounce off of it, came back, and you can see we retraced about 50% of this entire move, and then we retraced 50% of it, and then we came back and retraced 50% of this. So it's kind of what the market kind of does. It does a lot of times it'll make a big move, retrace half of it, and then retrace the other half, and then until it consolidates, and then it does another breakout. So looking for Bitcoin for some direction here, but definitely Didn't stay down there, which is helpful. That means the bulls came in and bought it back up. Great bargain time down there as well. So we'll see if that continues to consolidate here possibly and get a bounce over the weekend. Ethereum, same thing. Huge came down here, support, retrace 50%, again another 50%. So we'll see, if we get some consolidation and another breakout here on Ethereum. So that's stocks and cryptos, things we're looking at in the market. Stay safe trading out there. Just know to expect some pullbacks. For right now, market's looking very bullish here off that news. So unless the news gets reversed on Monday, any comments from Monday on inflation, we may get this year-end rally that typically we like to see. So everybody stay safe out there. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.